Parental discretion is advised.
In primetime news this evening, it's a disaster. Prime Minister breaks his silence on Cooper's Pen demolition.
Human rights group calls on JCF leadership to clarify the alleged detention of men prior to demolition in Cooper's Pen.
And man charged in brawl at St. Anne Party granted bail. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. A very special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Anthony Love.
And I'm Kalisha Williams. We'll also have the financial week a little later on, but Ricardo Chambers is here with a preview of what's to come in sports.
Well, the funeral service to honor and celebrate the life of the legendary coach Stephen Francis will be held on Saturday at the National Indoor Sports Center. It starts at 11 a.m. Coverage starts on Television Jamaica platforms at 10:30 with a special feature. We'll tell you all about it in Primetime Sports Friday.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. There's also sports commentary and weather in this newscast. But before the break, the feedback question.
And this evening, we're asking, how have you been preparing for back to school? Well,
you can share comments online at facebook.com/televisionjamaica and post on X at TVJ News Center.
Please stay with us. Primetime News returns right after this break.
Welcome back to Primetime News.
Special welcome to folks on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com.
First up this evening, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has described the demolition of homes in Cooper's Pen in Trelawney as a disaster.
Dr. Holness, who spoke for the first time on the issue today, said he will not say too much until he understands the situation fully.
But he says the government is carefully assessing Tuesday's mass demolition to see how it can support the residents.
Details in this report.
Since Tuesday, there has been widespread outrage following a mass demolition of homes in Cooper's Pen, Trelawney. Disturbing images started to flood the media as dozens of families appealed for help at the highest level. On Friday, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness responded.
The images that we have seen are disturbing. My heart goes out to the families who have been dislocated. I see a particular image of a newborn and the mother being displaced. These are the tragedies, and it is one thing that history does is to repeat itself.
Right.
And I am committed to ensure that our history is not repeated.
Which is why he said the government cannot endorse squatting and the illegal occupation of land.
I do intend to address the specific matter when I have the full details of the matter. The matter is quite complex, and it involves court rulings for which I need to be properly advised on those court rulings before I speak.
Right.
I do intend to, however, address the matter. As soon as the matter occurred and it was brought to my attention, I had no prior knowledge of it. None of our ministers, certainly not the member of parliament. I got a call very early in the morning, quite surprised. And immediately we mobilized resources from ODPEM and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to assist, because technically it was a disaster.
He said whatever the government does, it has to ensure that it is made clear that squatting is wrong, but also find the balance which shows every Jamaican should have equal access to land and housing.
We will have to find ways to support those families who are impacted. But whatever our response is, we have to be careful that we don't set a precedence that is not sustainable.
Nakinsky Robinson, TVJ News.
Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice, JFJ, has joined the growing list of persons raising concerns about the detention of more than a dozen men in Cooper's Bench, Trelawney, ahead of a demolition exercise in the community on Tuesday.
It is claimed 20 to 25 men were picked up by the police at around 3 a.m. and taken to the Falmouth police station, where they were held for hours. According to them, they were told by the police that they were searching for guns. In a statement today, JFJ said the situation raises serious human rights concerns. It asserted that the detention, fingerprinting, and seizure of personal property, such as phones, represent significant interference with constitutional rights to freedom of the person, movement, liberty, and privacy. The organization added that the mere presence of police at a demolition exercise does not on its own justify the detention and processing of residents as though they were criminal suspects.
I think the lack of public explanation from the Jamaica Constabulary Force heightens transparency and accountability issues. And with that in mind, the organization is calling on the JCF to provide clarity around why the police were present as part of what appears to have been a private demolition exercise, whether the detention of the men formed part of the demolition operation or was connected to a separate and independent police operation.
JFJ also raised questions about the legal basis for the fingerprinting and photographing of the men, noting that the Fingerprints Act sets out circumstances in which such measures may lawfully be taken.
It's important that we ensure that in the exercise of any function, it is done in a lawful manner that maintains human dignity. And I really do urge the JCF to respond in a timely manner in the spirit of transparency and accountability.
Halshane Burke, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security says it is responding to the needs of residents in Cooper's Bench, Trelawney following this week's demolition exercise. But concerns remain, with residents calling for more attention.
3 days after the demolition exercise in Cooper's Bench, Trelawney, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security returned to the community on Thursday. A team from the ministry met with residents to assess their immediate needs and determine what support may be available to those affected. The visit comes as residents continue to deal with the fallout from Tuesday's exercise.
They may be displaced, but they are not conquered. The number of families, I have 44 families here. We would have been in this area on Tuesday. And we have 44 families, and there's a mixture. We have single families, nuclear families, extended families. Some persons are on PATH programs, some are NIS pensioners, some are disabled. A diverse set of persons are here, and it's our intention to help them. Because our ministry, quote unquote, is basically an umbrella organization. We touch every sphere of the Jamaican society.
Food and toiletries have already been distributed to residents affected by the demolition exercise, but State Minister in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Donovan Williams, says more assistance is expected with priority being given to the most vulnerable residents.
We are simultaneously doing the assessments and providing immediate relief as it is required. There are some mothers here. We discovered from our preliminary assessments that there are some young mothers here, babies. And so today we targeted those mothers and babies and provided some packages and assistance for them, things that they need for baby, along with water and hydrated supplies to keep them hydrated.
Mr. Williams says the wider group of affected residents will now be addressed with a general distribution of supplies set for Friday. He says arrangements are also being made to address the need for proper toilet facilities and access to water in the community.
It is a multi-agency effort, and we have been in dialogue with the local government ministry and ODPEM, and that we have, in our assessment, discovered that there is a need. Rightly so. And that is why we have been providing, if you realize, we have provided some waters. We have brought packages of water here today. But in terms of the toiletry, we have done some investigation and assessments, and we are in contact with ODPEM and the Ministry of Local Government, and we will together provide that response. And there is a need, and it is in train.
Still to come this evening, Ganja farmers in Westmoreland take steps to enter the formal sector. And in business news, beverage brands pivoting as the consumption habits of party patrons change. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We're continuing the news. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the fatal shooting of a 17-year-old boy during a police operation in the Kingston Western Police Division this afternoon. The shooting occurred sometime after 1 along West Avenue, 3rd Street in Trenchtown. It's reported that a police team went into the community in search of the teenager. He was fatally shot and an illegal firearm allegedly taken from him. Residents have questioned the actions of the police.
43-year-old Dave Taylor, the American businessman charged with the alleged assault of 2 teenagers at the Zimise party in St. Anne, was offered bail today. Mr. Taylor, a resident of New York City, was offered bail in the sum of $1 million when he appeared before the St. Anne's Bay Parish Court. He is to return to court on September 22. As a condition of his bail, Mr. Taylor is not allowed to leave the island, not to interfere with the witnesses, and is to report to the police every week. week. Mr. Taylor was charged yesterday with inflicting grievous bodily harm with intent and unlawful wounding. He was arrested at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, in connection with the altercation at the popular Zimise Beach party on Sunday. The incident was caught on camera. During the brawl, 2 boys aged 15 and 17 were injured. In the meantime, commanding officer for the St. Anne Police Division, Senior Superintendent Carlos Russell, confirmed that a second man linked to the incident turned himself into the Runaway Bay Police Station yesterday. He is to face an identification parade.
This evening, the striking images of how the extreme dry spell is shrinking crops and farmers' earnings in Downs, Manchester. As you'll hear from Krista Campbell, there's an urgent appeal for help even as farmers prepare to replant.
Rainfall depends on rain and fall, I know.
And so farmers in Downs, Manchester say their businesses have been living up to that name and going down since the start of the summer.
Yeah, about 450,000 water I spend different for seed and fertilizers. I'm time and grass.
The images are telling. Acres of crops and farm animals are scorched under the fierce heat.
When I'm near, I can say in burial a pig over the heat alone, drunk the pig, no can't try. And then I plan to get hot and hard and everything. Nobody not present for me now, the amount of water. And that side it was cucumber. I lose a cucumber crop altogether. I have a sweet corn over the top. I lose sweet corn altogether because with lack of water. We plant it with sorrel and see the 1 tree no more growth of it. 1 digger tree. And if you look at them hatch out back. From church, from the summer start, from in June, July come down. I'm supposed to buy more than 22 load of water. At $30,000 load from trucking. I'm still not getting nothing. As that piece of tomato and melon, I try to set off with it. I'm still not seeing nothing. So 2 nurses in my hall and back off. No water planting. Nothing at all. We don't get nothing so.
Jumbo watermelons reduced to a paradox.
See the melon, they don't go on this side, so they ripe. See, they ripe. And this one big, the melon should have picked now. And so they look. $11,000 for the melon, see them, and it's a big jumbo melon. And then come on it, and it's supposed to be
11,500.
It's supposed to be about this size of melon, supposed to look fast. And through the drought, as you look by the water route and the sun up and dry up.
Farmers say the lack of piped water, even before the dry spell, has also made things worse. And the irrigation water they purchase for their farms does not measure up to the heat.
They have overhead water on the garden. The tomato won't burn off the truss off of it. Because you notice the truss gone from the tomato, so you don't have much bearing. Because, the overhead water that keep the tree top cool, that, burn the blossom. But a little water will come from the drip up there. I'm going to barely with the road so you can survive the top of the tree.
They lament that help has been lacking and are urging the authorities to intervene even as they prepare for the next crop season.
See them heap up the trash and plant it back. Because when the rain comes, plant it back because it's dead out altogether.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Now to Ganja farmers in Westmoreland who say they're optimistic following a permit tour by the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Scores of farmers gathered in Darlaston on Thursday to get information on how they can become regularized. Kimberly Petty reports.
The auditorium at the Enfield Primary School in Darlaston, Westmoreland was filled with ganja farmers eager to get a taste of the legal cannabis economy. Many at present are operating illegally, but on Thursday, they made the critical step to get themselves regularized.
Me feel proud that time come, a long time. Time come, a time come. This will happen a long time.
I think it's a good thing because the users of marijuana and the farmers, they are being stigmatized for years. And it's a good thing that the government came up with the CLA who are regularizing the cultivation and the sale of marijuana products.
It was an excellent day to know about to get the legal license for the marijuana, and I am a farmer, so I really appreciate it.
The CLA says a special permit program tour is geared at educating locals on the regulated industry opportunities. Zachary Hines, a resident of Darlaston, says he has always had an interest in the legal industry and that this tour has piqued his interest.
CLA has actually provided us with the proper guidelines, the proper permits, so we and the police and have no issues. So this is a real heart-touching thing for me, and I hope the rest of the persons in Westmoreland and Jamaica on a whole can actually take into this, because you're getting the legal permission to do this.
Farah Blake is the CEO of the CLA. She says she's encouraged by the turnout and stressed the significance of farmers becoming regularized.
It is very important because it does not conflict with law. And once you are operating illegally, then the raids that we hear about, those will happen. If you have a permit to operate your ganja farm, that can't happen to you.
She went further.
Jamaica is world renowned for ganja. And it is just about high time that we step into that. The Cannabis Licensing Authority is offering 2 pathways to commercial inclusion. And so I would encourage any ganja farmer to take advantage of it, because I never in my lifetime thought that we would be having that conversation in 2026.
Member of Parliament for Eastern Westmoreland, Dr. Dayton Campbell, says 80% of the economic activity in the constituency is linked to agriculture. While crediting the CLA for the initiative, he says it is not without challenges.
Some of them are concerned as to whether or not if they come out and show themselves, whether or not their farms will be ready. So there has to be a certain level of trust between what takes place here with the CLA and the JCF in terms of us trying to regularize these persons.
Kimberly Petty, TVJ News.
In part 2 of our look at Jamaica's AI Wellness Companion, we examine 2 critical concerns: what happens when a user is in crisis and how secure their most personal information is. Sandy Williams tells us more.
While an AI companion may offer a private space to talk, there is a critical distinction between a digital conversation and professional mental health care, which is particularly important when someone is experiencing a crisis. In a case of suspected self-harm or suicide, TrueBiz developers say the platform is designed to immediately recognize the warning signs and prioritize the crisis.
So if you express that you want to harm yourself, there are safeguards in place. So there are links to the suicide hotline depending on the country that you're in. And if you tell TrueBiz that, it's going to flag that and it's going to start working. It's going to, for example, put some of the other issues that you mentioned to the back burner and focus mainly on the issue at hand right now, which is suicide, right?
The company says the system will provide crisis contacts and guide the user through grounding steps while they seek professional help. But mental health professionals stress that technology should never be treated as the emergency service itself.
AI might tell you, you should call the police, but will you call the police? You should call your community health aid. Are you going to call your community health aid? Can they give you a number right there and then? I'm not too sure about that. Can they tap into the police or community health or a hospital or a family member to call that person for you? I don't know about that. But you know what I do know? I do know that when my clients are in crisis and I see a black DM or I get a voice note at 4 o'clock in the morning, I can respond to that. I can call an emergency contact. I can talk them off the ledge.
The question of privacy is another major consideration. A wellness app built around a conversation can potentially collect some of the most intimate information a person is willing to share. TrueBiz developers say that information is encrypted before being stored. The technology arrives as Jamaica seeks to expand access to mental health care, but it also raises important questions about where AI fits into that system. Could AI help close some of the gaps in mental health support without becoming a substitute for the professionals who provide it?
I think AI could be a good intake tool. Like I said, a therapist assistant is what I see AI as. So the intake forms, monitoring and helping someone to practice their skills and monitoring their emotions between appointments. So as a check-in tool, okay, check in if you did your breathing, check in if you did your journaling, that type of thing, then yes, it can work.
It doesn't replace therapy because we would never try to replace a professional or a medical professional, but it does help bridge that gap between that time where you want to take the step to go to therapy or until you're ready to go to therapy. And you can also use it in between your therapy sessions.
The experiment now is whether technology can make it easier for someone to take that first step toward getting help. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
And coming up in this newscast, fires across England and Wales prompt national alert as 19 homes destroyed. We'll be right back.
No join the manual line, tap up online. They get up online instead.
The time is
KFC summer bucket.
Chicken, mega deal, super chicken, mega.
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
Much cheaper toll rates on Trans Jam highways with a
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. To a primetime news follow-up now. The people of Rosetta District in St. Anne are rejecting claims by the St. Anne Municipal Corporation that residents gave approval for 2 cell towers to be erected in the community. They are renewing calls for construction to be halted as there are serious health concerns. But as we hear in this report, the corporation insists there was effective public consultation. This is the site where one of the telecommunication towers will be erected in Rosetta District, St. Anne. It's already driving a wedge between the residents and the St. Anne Municipal Corporation.
There are children living around here, elder person living around here. I don't know if I have any undergoing sickness in my body. My grandmother, she's a 90-year-old person. She can't manage it.
Yeah, we are not comfortable with it because of what we understand, the harm that it can really give to us so near to our house.
In July, after some residents voiced their concerns, the corporation said there was adequate public consultation and residents gave the green light for the towers to be constructed. But the residents are saying otherwise.
We understand that they had a meeting and didn't invite any of us that are concerned about this to the meeting. So that is surprising to us. And I understand that they said they get the go-ahead to continue. We are not happy with that.
They use their friends. There wasn't a meeting. We have to fight this off how we want. Because they say we have no say, no, because we poor and we have no money to fight it. So we have to come out and try to protest against it to see the very best way we can get it to stop. And we're sick and tired of this now because they might try to manipulate us.
They also point us to a letter that was written to the corporation to express their concern with the project. It highlighted the health and safety concerns as well as the environmental impact.
This don't look real. This don't look right. True for me, more big me have to talk. You understand? Them have foolishness. We need justice.
And we don't need it here. So if it's a court, it's a court.
In the meantime, the St. Anne Municipal Corporation has doubled down on its position. In a statement sent to our news center, the corporation said all the necessary legal procedures were followed and all the statutory requirements were satisfied before approval was granted for the towers. It also stressed that there was a consultation meeting with the residents in January where the concerns were addressed.
And it's time now for some responses from our friends on Facebook and X to this question: how have you been preparing for back to school? Our first response comes from Lydia, who says, finish buying everything except the books because the teachers are not using them in class. I'll buy them when they ask. We have another comment from Sedash, who says, with the cost of school supplies, it is a bit challenging. Please, for those who can help, please assist someone who is finding it a bit difficult. We have another comment from Angela, who says, I make sure to finish all that's on my agenda for back to school by the end of July. This way, I won't be caught up in any mad rush, price hikes, or shortage of school supplies. We have another one from Queen Bee Toya, who says, finish buying the books, not buying the shoes until it's near for school to open. I agree, Toya. And Antoinette says, got the books out the way, moving towards bag and shoes this weekend. Now keep those comments coming at facebook.com/television Jamaica and on X at TVJ News Center. Please stay with us. The Financial Week, our Bite of the Week, and news from overseas are all after the break.
Week. As the sale of traditional alcoholic beverages soften, one category continues to gain ground: ready-to-drink beverages. And with consumer taste shifting, industry players are using partnerships to connect with an increasingly selective market.
The music was loud, the energy was high, and the crowd was out at I Love Soca, held recently under the Best Weekend Ever party series. Another staging of the event meant another opportunity to turn entertainment into economic activity. But a successful event of this scale goes beyond ticket sales. Andrew Bellamy is the director.
It's a lot of work. It is really planning, coordinating, conceptualizing, and then bringing in, the different experts from different teams to piece together what we create as Best Weekend Ever.
Corporate partnerships remain an important part of the equation, with companies like Red Stripe using the event to stay connected with consumers. And that connection is becoming more important as the global alcoholic beverage market changes.
Sir, my consumers are my North Star. They tell me what they would like, and sometimes we try to delight them in ways that they have not even thought about, but it's really important to listen to them because they are really the heartbeat of our business.
Recent data from IWSR Drinks Market Analysis show overall volume of alcohol beverage fell 2% in 2025, marking a third consecutive year of decline. Beer, wine, and spirits all contracted. However, one major category moved in the opposite direction. Ready-to-drink beverages grew by approximately 3% globally, while those in the premium and above category jumped by more than 15%. The numbers suggest consumers are becoming more selective about what, when, and how they drink. We put the issue to Head of Commerce at Red Stripe, Sean Wallace.
Have a drink. When you look at ready to drink, I think it's more about flavors and different variations, and we've tried to do that, both with the ready to drink like Rum Stripe, but also with our Red Stripe flavors. Last year we launched Red Stripe Mango, been doing very well, and of course at Reggae Sumfest a couple weeks ago, we asked our consumers to choose the next reggae, the next Red Stripe flavor variant. We got a lot of responses, so look out for that coming soon.
For companies operating in that space, it means meeting consumers where they are. According to brand manager for Rum Stripe, Arnaldo Martin, major entertainment events provide one such opportunity.
Well, and we want to give the consumers what they want. So as much as we are innovating, our consumers are speaking to us, and we have that relationship that's so mutually beneficial, that we are working together to really and truly bring things to the market that will excite everyone.
The music has faded and fans are now home, but what lingers is the business behind the party. For promoters and sponsors, shifting tastes can spark not just vibes, but a real economic ripple.
I mean, without sponsors, this wouldn't be possible. They're a big part of it. They help to enhance the experience. They curate these different moments, touch points that people they enjoy. Help contribute to this unforgettable moment.
NCB Financial Group is reporting net profit of $18.6 billion for the 9 months ended June 30. That's a 39% decline from the $30.5 billion earned during the same period last year. Profit to stockholders also fell 30% to $13.3 billion. The group says the drop was largely due to a one-off gain of more than $15 billion recorded last year from the sale of its Netherlands insurance brokers business. When that gain is excluded, the financial group says its underlying net profit actually grew by 21%. NCB also saw an improvement during the third quarter, with net profit rising 57% from the previous quarter to $8.2 billion. The group says the quarterly performance was boosted by unrealized gains on equity investments, reversing losses recorded earlier in the year. To the stock market now, the JSE index advanced by 1,865 points, while the junior market index declined by 1 point. The advances included First Rock Real Estate Investments, MFS Capital Partners, Caribbean Cream, Cygnus Credit Investments, Preference Shares, and Innovative Energy Group. The losers included One Great Studio Company, Access Financial Services, Honeybun, Image Plus Consultants, and Proven Group. 17 stocks traded firm. To currency trading now, at the end of the foreign exchange trading, banks and cambios were selling the US dollar for an average $158.30. The Canadian dollar is being sold for $114.51. The pound is going for $214.84, while the euro is selling for an average $184.95. At the end of foreign exchange trading, banks, well, that's the same story. And that's the Financial Week. News from overseas, our Bite of the Week, they're all next. Stay with us.
Nobody
Welcome back. In news overseas, fires across England and Wales have prompted a national government alert warning people not to light anything that could spark a wildfire. The warning on Friday evening came as it was revealed 19 homes were destroyed and a further 18 damaged in a huge fire in Sturbridge, West Midlands, that spread rapidly through grass and woodland on Thursday before damaging homes. Prime Minister Andy Burnham told members of the public to take the warning seriously, adding it was triggered at the request of firefighters. West Midlands Fire Service Chief said the Sturbridge blaze was one of the most significant incidents the service had ever dealt with. It was one of several fires being dealt with across England and Wales on Friday.
To our bite of the week now, it comes from a resident of Cooper's Bend in Trelawney. He was upset over being labelled a squatter after more than 20 homes were demolished in the community Tuesday morning. Here's our bite of the week.
Bite of the week brought to you by King Alarm. King Alarm, the obvious choice.
As a citizen, I'm a national, I'm a native. Me no run away for nowhere come here. A Jamaica me born and grow. Me are no squatters, me can't be squatters in a Jamaica. No boy can't tell me say me a squatters in my country. Me born and grow here.
Bite of the week brought to you by King Alarm. King Alarm, the obvious choice.
And the Primetime News package continues with sports right after this break.